Start us up on podcast 51.
Well, folks, welcome to 51. Today we're going to talk about future goals and things that you could be doing right now that'll help you next year.
Yeah.
What
When I
what do you got, Dave?
when I first started this, I did not think that we would make it to podcast 51. Which, well, I kind of did, but that's 51 weeks in a row that we've been here.
Yeah, yeah.
We've been tired. We've had
We've done some
sicknesses.
on the road.
Have we?
Yeah, didn't we do? We did a. Didn't we do one in Maryland?
You're still sleeping.
Sika.
No.
We didn't record it.
No, you weren't here. We were supposed to record for everybody, but you weren't here.
Hmm.
Anyway,
Anyhow, my
yeah,
my
50,
memory is
50,
bad.
51 weeks in a row. I can't believe that.
Yeah, coming up on season 2 here pretty quick.
That's right. Season 2, and it'll be 52 more episodes of listening to us say blah, 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 blah.
Blah blah blah.
But the cool thing about it is it's definitely progressed because when I signed, I debated 2 years of starting one. And finally got the process down and how to do it and how to distribute it out to all the um, podcast apps and stuff. But it took a little bit to figure it out, but it's definitely progressed. We started out, I think, podcast number one. Um, it got like 7 downloads,
Hmm.
because it was brand new, and then we've steady been on the incline ever since. So we haven't been going this way down. We've been going
Right.
up. So it's all
And
progress.
and the viewer side on my channel, it's just kind of across the board been about the same. It goes up, it comes down, so
Yeah.
it averages about the same amount of views.
Well, you're always going to see up and down because it's just seasonal.
Yeah.
Whatever anybody that specific topic or something people search and then they watch and then it just goes down and it just it's like a roller coaster. And my YouTube channel is the same way. Whatever content I put out, it's always up and down. Usually increases around September, goes straight up, straight up, straight up, hits December, kind of goes down a little bit, and it's pretty flat through the spring, but then it just shoots up.
Hmm. Gotcha.
So I have a funny story, actually two of them, and we're going to talk about some habitat work and some new farm plans and things. And that's a great orange shirt you got there.
It is. It
You're
is.
killing my eyes. For everybody listening, Chris is wearing a real tree fluorescent orange hoodie, and it's blinding us.
Yes,
Where'd you
it
get that
is.
thing?
Actually think this one my mother bought me.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
nice.
she likes me.
Yeah, she does. So 2024 booking season is here for consulting.
Mm.
I'm pretty much tapped out. Like I still have a few more spots to fill for 2024. Um, I get contact requests on my website, whitetailobsessionoutdoors.com, all the time. It sends me a little contact form, and people say, "Hey, I'm in Texas or Nebraska," or I just don't go out that way, guys. So if you contact
Yeah.
me, it's on my website. I primarily stay on the East Coast, so I'll do New Jersey, New York, um, Maryland. Obviously, I live in Maryland. PA is a huge one. Always been big in PA. There's times I go to Kentucky, which I have a trip there planned. I think this year it's not till May. If I go to Ohio, we did a bunch of Virginia last year, West Virginia. So if you want in on that for 2024, get a hold of me. And what I don't want is what I experienced the other day is you can call me. It's on my it's on my website and we can talk for a few minutes and you can say, "Hey, Dave, this is what I want on my property, like goal wise." And I will tell you, I'll be straight with you. I say I can't help you because your goals are unrealistic, or I will say, "Sounds good. Let's book it." So when you call, we talk about your property and some things. And I had a phone call the other day, and a client or customer had called and said, He was asking me, he wanted help. He was stuck, hasn't shot a deer in several years, doesn't see many deer. Um, but he called for help, and I gave him 3 simple solutions for help, and he argued with me every single point. Like, literally got mad and things. And sometimes when people look at their property or look at hunting or something, sometimes you need a fresh set of eyes, right? So you reach out for help. But in order for that to be successful, you have to be open-minded, right? So if you're always focused on one thing and you're not open-minded, a lot of times it can fail. So I then sometimes hearing the truth is hard to hear. So I told him what should happen. He didn't want to hear it. He got upset, and that was the end of the phone call. So sometimes when you call somebody for help, no matter what it is, whether it's habitat consulting or a vehicle issue or something like this, somebody gives you an educated answer and you don't want to hear it, that I mean that's your fault. So you have to be open minded with things. And the problem was the guy had very little property, very little woods, but yet he had several acres of clover, and he ran out of food in the wintertime because clover goes dormant and there's no food left. So I suggested shrinking the clover plot, and I hear this all the time. People want to plant acres and acres of clover because they're trying to feed the deer throughout the spring and summer. Well, then in the fall they have no food left. Well, in that situation, most times you get rid of the clover, shrink it dramatically, and focus on fall. And if you're in open settings, you add extra cover or something. But that was the end of the phone call. And last year, I was on a client visit, and in person, the guy gave me deposit beforehand. I show up and we do the work, and everything that we walk the property, and I suggested he argue. Some people just want to argue. They just want to argue with you. They want to test you. And I he argued with me every single second. I said, dude, here's your money back. I'm going home. I don't have time for that. I'm not going to argue with you. I'll gladly give you your money back. And I hear this all the time from other consultants as well, that they'll go there, customer just wants to argue, they don't want to listen to anything, and they give them their money back. I will gladly give you your money back if I'm there and you don't want to hear anything, you don't want to hear the truth. I will give you your money back and say see you later.
Well, the truth of the matter is
Give it to us. What is it?
that person owns their property, and realistically, they know or should know like where the deer are coming from, where they're entering, exiting the properties and things. They should have a clue, and some of it's self-explanatory. So when you come in and you suggest something, in the back of their mind, they're probably thinking, well, that's not going to work because they enter over here and you want them to enter over here. So I can see how someone might argue a little bit, but um, if they can't listen to common sense, though, that's an issue.
Well, see a trend, and I think what happens is there's so much information on the internet where they watch all these different people or
Mm.
whoever's doing like food plot advice or whatever it is. When you get there, they have all these ideas in their mind, and you start throwing out ideas, and sometimes you'll say, "Well, that's not how so and so does it." Like, I'm not so and so. I don't care what they do. You hired me. I'm here to help you. I'll help you any way I can. But there's like they just their mind is clouded.
I imagine, like, I imagine what you just said is probably a lot of the issue because they you get there and they're probably like, "Hey, Dave, what do you think about putting a water hole in?"
Hmm.
Well, so and so puts water holes in every freaking property he consults. You ever notice
Hmm.
that?
Hmm.
You know who so and so is, I mean, but you get what I'm saying. They have a preconceived idea of what you might tell them to do, but you might tell them something totally different, and they're like, "Hey, what about this?" And well,
Hmm.
no, no, I don't think that's a good idea. And like you said, they'll pipe up probably and say, "Well, I've seen it. I've seen this and heard about that."
Well,
Why
another
even
trend,
why even call and ask then? You
right?
know,
It's just people want to argue. And
it's silly.
one other thing, trend that I see that I seen last year, and we'll change the subject, but um, I was I consulted on several properties last year where a well-known consultant was on, very well-known consultant was on the property, or on, either on that property or on a previous property of theirs. It was a customer that had property. They hired this consultant. They came out, made a plan, and it was trash. So they ended up buying either a new property or just, kept getting properties. And I would get there and say, hey, we had so and so out on our old property, or they were on this property. It happened several times last year. And obviously, I'm not going to say the name, but they were very, very disappointed. They
And
said,
I imagine, and I'm pretty sure I know who you mean. I imagine that person goes out with a cookie cutter plan for everybody.
that's probably, I kind of got the idea of that from what they were telling me.
Yep.
Um, it's, they were just unhappy. And I was shocked to hear that. And I think what's happening is, this whole habitat consulting thing is very big now. So a lot of these there's only so many hunters, right? So there's only so many properties you people consult on. So I think what's happening is this push for it and popularity of it is all these properties are being consulted on, and now whatever ones aren't working out, the the consultant wasn't good or whatever, we're getting like a repeat. We're overlapping the previous properties. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
So plans already been placed on them, and now other people are coming in and redoing it. But I I heard this so many times last year, and I was shocked. So I'm not saying that the guy's bad, and he obviously has tons of experience, but um, I don't know. I don't. It is what it is. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I was
Yeah.
shocked
Yeah.
to hear that.
I just imagine that person going out with the cookie cutter plan and telling everybody to do the same things, you know. And actually, if they called him in, they probably watched his videos or took some of his advice already and think that that's a good idea. And so they call him out and pay this exorbitant amount of money for him to come out and tell them what they already seen on the video, probably, you know.
One of the ones that I went to last year that
And they're
had,
not happy. They're not
yeah,
happy in the
that
end.
had this guy out there, they actually they thought about it, and they ended up buying a new property. So they called again. This time, he wasn't even coming. He was going to send his son.
Mm.
He was going to send his son out, fly his son out to do it. His son doesn't have. I mean, I don't know anything about his son, but they said he was a new to his team or whatever, and it was like $8,500 for his son to fly out, and they were just blown away. So I mean, whatever. It was just shocking.
It's shocking to me that people pay that type of money if
Hey,
they
well,
if they just did their research and could
hmm,
figure something out. I mean,
yeah,
everybody, some people do need help. You know, they're not creative that way,
hmm.
or they may not. They might be new and.
Well, I'll be the first to admit, not everybody needs consulting. Like you said,
Oh
you
yeah,
should be able to learn. I mean, you should be able to learn some things,
yeah,
but I think a lot of people say it too. Is like you hire somebody, you basically cut out the errors that you would make on your property, and you save time. Like if you just have somebody come and say, hey, do this, and this, and this, and you just do it, you save the learning curve. You know what I mean? You
yeah.
save the learning curve, but then
Well,
again, you don't learn yourself. So I'll be the first to say, like, hey, you don't. Everybody doesn't need it. Like, you don't have to hire anybody. Like, you don't have
no,
to hire me.
I made a whole video about that. I think it
Yeah,
was titled, "Do I really need, or do
yeah.
you really need a consulting?"
Hmm.
Yeah,
And there's things
consult.
that you should be able to figure out. I mean, there's enough information out there. But the problem is, here's the problem: you only have a certain size property, you get one shot at cutting trees.
Yeah.
They don't grow back. They're not going to grow back for 20 years. So if you mess up, it's very hard to correct. So that's why people are hiring somebody to say, hey, cut here, 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 select cut over there, clear cut here.
Hmm.
Um, so you say, because it's your property, it's your investment. So I
Yeah.
get it. I get it from both sides. I understand both sides of
Yeah.
it.
There's needs, and then there's other people that probably wouldn't need to hire a consultant,
Right. Correct.
you know. But anyhow,
What's your plans? I hear that
I'm gonna be doing a little bit of cutting.
I
Just
hear you're going to be firing up a chainsaw soon.
yeah, yeah. I have
Tell
here
us a little bit about it.
here below the house. Now, when I moved here 22 years ago, and my woods was pretty thick down here below the house, and I noticed there was a good amount of deer coming out through this one area. And so the previous owner had like this wooden hunting shanty. He was an elderly man, so he built himself a shanty, had some heat in there and things, and uh, he was trying to hunt down there. And I don't know that he was real successful because it was so thick. So when I moved in, I already had a big farm tractor and some implements and things, and I went down with a chainsaw and I took out some trees, and I
Well,
made
me and you cut some too.
yeah, we made a video about cutting some trees down there also. But what I have a horseshoe shaped food plot below the house, um, and they seem to funnel in a specific area. And I like to hang a tree stand there. And every year I seem to at least shoot a deer or two below the house, depending on how many tags I have or whatever,
Yeah,
you know.
you at
So
least see them regularly.
yeah, yeah, I've got regular movement down there. And so anyhow, the issue is though, um, there's it was all ferns when I first took over this spot, and so obviously the pH was horrible. So I eliminated all the ferns and started pounding it with lime.
Now,
And
how did you eliminate them ferns? Did you have to like a continuous herbicide program, or
you
did they
know,
just eventually go away from planting other things?
the first year I went in with a weed whacker, and I weed whacked all that in the heat of the summer, and the sun baked them dead. So they were all brown that first year. So I didn't have a whole lot of competition the next spring when I wanted to plant something. So I weed whacked them down. They turned brown. I started pounding it with the lime, and that changed the pH, over a couple months period. And then in the spring, when I tried to plant something, of course, the first year I had some competition, some ferns, some weed, this, that, and the other. And I wasn't big on herbicide back then. So what I did is I did a repetitive till. I tilled it a few times, waited a week, tilled it again, waited another week, tilled it again, and eventually uprooted all that garbage, and the sun would bake it dead. And so the first couple of years, I didn't understand fully the fertilizers and things, what I needed to do correctly. I didn't do soil tests and things, but
Well,
eventually I did
let
my homework.
let's pause right there real quick
Yeah.
because um, a lot of people have fern issues.
Mhm.
So from what I've seen, and this resonates with what you just said, is that from what I've seen, ferns typically grow in kind of damp, moist areas, shaded areas with no
Shaded.
sunlight.
Yeah.
So at the old farm, there was a large section. Well, one of the sections me and you cleared out, the food plot in the woods, it was full of ferns. So
Yeah.
once we cut the timber out, got more sunlight in there, that beginning year, the following year, some of them regrew in that early stage. You can kill them with glyphosate
Yeah.
and you'll burn them off. And the
For sure.
problem with ferns on your property is that they get so tall and they build a canopy over, so there's no actual food growing underneath of them because they shade out everything else.
Yeah.
So if you have ferns on your property, you can get rid of them.
for sure.
cuttings, and sometimes, if you're not specifically planting right there, you can kill them with glyphosate.
Yeah,
I just wanted to bring that up.
sure. And between tilling it up and then hitting it with gly, and then if you get any regrowth, you know, uh, mowing, and when you create the sunlight down to the ground and you've added the lime,
Burn them up.
that pH in the lime in the sunshine, yeah, it burns them out. So I didn't have a whole lot of problem with ferns after that. I have more problems with chickweed, um, and the
Smartweed.
yes, I was going to say Pennsylvania smartweed. So that's a every year battle though.
Yeah,
Even
that
when I
stuff's hard.
yeah, even when I spray it,
Yeah.
I use a spray down there every year and it still creeps back in.
Hmm.
But anyhow, yeah, I mean, I'm to the point where I've been putting stuff down in the woods there for almost 20 years, at least 15 years, closer to 20, but at least 15 years I've been planting stuff down there. And every year it just gets a little better and a little better. But my issue was I didn't want to keep cutting down all my nice woods. Well, it's to the point now where I would rather enjoy the food plot than look at trees,
Hmm.
because the trees are shading the plot. So I'm getting filtered sunlight a lot, which isn't optimal. So I am going to take some more trees out this fall, or this winter, I should say, and get the sunlight in there that I need for
Let's
sure.
talk about that real quick too. So primarily, I know you planted several things down there, but I'd
Yeah.
say what 75% you focus on clover down there
Yeah, clovers grow well down there. For
because
one thing,
it's filtered.
the pH was low, and when I first started down there, and clovers will grow in a lower pH,
And
and
filtered sun.
filtered sun. Um, so yeah, I mean that was one of the things that was growing well down there. But certain clovers were better than others because it was damp. You know, um, obviously, the whites and the oh, what's the name? It just left me. But anyhow, yeah, certain clovers grow better in the damp area, and others are more well suited for out in the wide open.
You planted hot chick down there before, didn't you? Domain
I
hot chick.
did, I
Yeah.
did. Yeah, hot chick came in well. The chicory did okay, um, but around here, chicory doesn't last.
Mhm.
Um, if the deer doesn't pick it all out first, it ends up wilting and getting burned up. The clover goes crazy, but I don't
Mhm.
know. I don't know exactly what it is. Even my soil tests, they're spot on, and I don't know. I don't understand why the chicory just doesn't grow here like other places. But yeah, I'm gonna be doing a little bit of trimming down there. I've got some smaller cherry trees to take down and a couple larger maples, and those canopies should open up and allow.
You're leaving the stumps, right?
I will leave the stumps because
Because those maple stumps will regrow.
yeah. If I do that, the maples nearer to January, February, I will get them stump sprouts, and that'll be most nutritious to the deer. That'll benefit them. I'm trying to benefit myself by getting sunlight down, but those maple stumps, those sprouts that come off those stumps will just be the best thing for them come
Well,
spring.
that more sun you'll get too will also benefit the deer as well. I mean, you'll
Yeah,
have a more nutritious plant. So
sure.
the plants can let's see if I can pronounce this word today. The plants will photosynthesize.
Synthesize.
Yeah, so you got to have that sun in there, but you've been getting away with it because you've been planting sunlight tolerant or
Yeah,
shaded tolerant species.
shade tolerant species. Yep, yep. And
So,
it looks like a nice lush carpet down there,
mhm,
And then, sometimes though, I can tell I'm going to need some lime
right.
this year, because I started getting almost like a moss. Like it's still damp down there, not enough sun yet, and there's like
Hmm.
some moss and that smart weed, so I still need a little more work
Well, it's a perfect time to work on it. Wintertime.
for sure.
Rifle season's over, at least at where we're at. My shotgun season's over. I get a couple days here and there for like late muzzleloader and stuff, but um, if anybody's looking to improve their property, now's the time to start planning for it.
Yeah. And
You know.
even if you're into fruit and nut trees and things, uh the winter time is the time to do your pruning.
Hmm.
You want to do that in the winter, for a few reasons. One of them is bug infiltration. You cut a limb off and a bug will burrow right in there or something. Uh, but yeah, this is the time to be doing that type of thing,
Hmm.
getting ready for next year.
Yeah. Well, my plan for next year is to get a new farm.
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
um, I'm just not 100% happy with the one I have now. Access sucks, and we talked about it before, but leasing property, you can only do so much. You can only do what the landowner allows you. So, um, I'm actually looking to get a couple leases next year. So I'll be looking for a new one there, and I'll be bringing that whole improvement to the YouTube channel. But will be tons of food plot videos and things like that. And this winter, uh, there's going to be a lot of information from client trips that I'm going to. I'm going to record some stuff and start recording that a little bit. And I always ask the client too when they call me, like, hey, if you hire me or whatever, can I record a couple things? They're like, yeah, sure, no problem. So I'll be bringing that a little bit too. So um,
interesting.
yeah, well, you
So you
you
can
know you
catch their arguments on camera.
yeah, I can. And then obviously we get hired back, we come back and cut too. So there'll be cutting videos on clients' properties that we're cutting on. And hopefully I can drag Chris out of bed along on a couple of them in PA. He can help me cut a little bit. Then we'll make some YouTube content on clients' properties this winter.
I'll be crippled.
Yep, you'll be crippled. I'll be hunched over and walking like a Z.
Hmm.
So
Yeah.
that's fun. I can't wait for that. And uh it's not too early, man, to start working on stuff. I mean, I know
No.
hunting season's still in, but you got to start planning it. The sooner you plan, the sooner you can benefit.
Well, and you know, I always say, plant 365. Put something in. Whatever you put in this year benefits you next year, or
Mhm.
your plans will benefit you next year. You start working on something now. You can get ready for spring.
Mhm.
Uh, we'll be frost seeding soon.
Oh, yeah, soon.
You know, before you know it.
We'll have a couple podcasts about that when it kind of gets closer to frost eating season, but
Yeah,
I have a lot of information I want to talk about that when the time's right. We'll probably dive into that maybe
yeah,
mid-January or so in season 2 of the podcast.
yeah. That's up and coming quick. Um, you know what else is up and coming quick?
Hmm.
I'm nearing a milestone
Of 1,000 subs.
of 1,000 subscribers.
Yep.
Yep,
Yes,
I
you are.
need like 40, I don't know, somewhere around 45, 47 more subs.
And you're giving a knife away.
I'm going to give away a one-off inscribed laser etched blade city sticker knife.
Nice.
So if you're listening, get over to City Sticker Chris's channel and subscribe over there. And soon I will have a video coming out showing you what you're entering the win and how to get in on it.
Mhm.
So go over there and sub me, please.
Yep. And closing thoughts is if anybody needs consulting work, get a hold of me now because it's running out shortly. I'm
Booking quick.
I'm only going to do so many, and Chris can only help on a couple. So if you want to see us
Yeah.
both there cutting and making videos and consulting, or if you just need me there to consult,
Or if you
get a hold
just
of me.
want me to come and video Dave being crippled
Yeah.
as he cuts,
Yep.
you,
We'll
you
have.
can you can request
Yep.
me to come and
Yeah.
make fun of Dave while he cuts.
Yep, and we'll have fun and talk about stuff. So, yeah, and you might be.
Wouldn't that be funny if you get a phone call? Hey, yeah, bring Chris along. We need the
Yep,
video. Make fun of
yeah.
Dave.
I get a couple calls. They'll say, hey, like they'll say like, hey, I saw you on Chris's video, or uh, they'll say, where's Chris, or something
Yeah,
like that.
where's Chris at?
I went to a couple of clients last year. They said,
Meanwhile,
where's
you're in
Chris?
Virginia.
Yeah, I'm in Virginia. Where's Chris at?
Chris, he's in PA.
He's home sleeping.
Yeah.
Nah, but yeah. So you get a hold of us, and we can get you set up.
All right, that's 51. We're looking forward to podcast 52, and we're supposed to get possibly a guest on,
Hmm.
special guest,
Yeah,
and that'll
that might.
be our year-ending video
Yeah, that'll probably be an hour long on that one. So
for season
if
one.
if it works out,
Yeah.
it'll be an interesting one. I can't
If
wait to
not,
get I can't wait to get heated on that one.
we're just gonna have Dave drinking champagne and getting drunk.
Yep, drinking coffee, eating cookies.
Christmas
Later.
cookie,
Yep.
gingerbread.
Yeah. Later, guys.
All
We'll
right,
see you on
guys. Thanks for
podcast
listening.
52.
Do some subscribing. We'll see you.